Hello Tacticians, it's Nox here, and today we're going to be talking about what's going to happen next week when the Jain legendary event will be returning. Now, I'm not going to tell you which characters to get, nor which characters I think are best to get, but I will actually share with you a resource which you can go to by using the tinyurl.com here to help yourselves to decide who you should be gearing up in preparation for the event. So this spreadsheet has been provided by Eternal Nexus, a guild family, and not one family that my guild is a member of. We have our own guild, which you'll see at the end of the video. However, this is a fantastic resource for any of you who are trying to plan what you need to be doing next to either get legendaries or just keep a good track of all your characters. Once you've actually made a copy of the spreadsheet, all you need to do really to make it work is enter in the power level of each of the characters in here. Now, I have also added a power level of 1 to the characters that I don't have, just so I can see where they can be used if I'm ever lucky enough to get someone like Marnius Calgar. Once you've entered in all your power levels, all you need to do is either scroll to the right and it will tell you where your characters can be used for either the Morgan Ra, Jain, or even Ornn Shi events. Or, if you want a simpler way to look at all these, there are actually tabs at the bottom which you can use to go straight to the legendary event of your choice. Here, I've clicked on Jain, which, as I've said, is coming up next week. And I've entered in a few parameters here to show me which of my characters I need to focus on. Now, I have already completed some of the Jain event, and I have actually unlocked Jain, and there'll be a further video about that later this week when I compare Jain to Ulf. So here I've just been playing around to have a look at which my characters can be used where, and what sort of teams I can put together to try and do the alpha requirements with as few as possible. However, as the event does go on and the missions become harder and harder, you'll probably just start to focus on one of these requirements at any one time. And this is why I've said I'm not going to tell you who to be working on, because you will be able to find out yourself by using this fantastic tool. So for me personally, I've used it to shorten down the list of the characters I need to improve, or at least try and create a team which will actually tick off as many of these requirements as possible, so I can try and get Jain up another rank or two. For Alpha, you can see Makatep, Snapper Wrecker, Calendis, Tank Smasher, which admittedly he's not a very popular farm, but he is fairly good here, and Snotflogger. And I'm hearing you cry already, but Snotflogger does create summons. Well, he does, but he's actually a very good close combat unit, and all you need to do to make sure he can be used in the no summons requirement is, well, just don't summon. And this can be said for anything. You know, just because they can summon doesn't mean you have to, and as such, some of your more powerful units, such as Yarrick and Beta and Gamma, can also be used for the no summons there. And as you can see, my Beta and Gamma teams are actually fairly similar. We start off with Yarrick, Certus and Rolls-Wither, as well as Isabella, who is probably the most important part of the team. And for Beta and Gamma, they have got one difference with using either Bellator or Brother Burchard. Now, if you are lucky enough to have Marnius Calgar or High Marshal Helbrecht, by all means put him in there instead of those other two characters. The reason being, well, they're just better and you only have to need to concentrate on one of them rather than doing two separate ones. However, why is Isabella so good for Beta and Gamma? Basically comes down to her passive ability, where any adjacent friendly unit that takes damage instantly gets healed for a certain amount of health. This, however, does not apply to lethal damage, so if they die, they're dead. There's no coming back from that. However, if you're only taking a large amount of damage, or even a small amount of damage, she's going to keep your units healed up and in top form, which is of fantastic use when it comes to Beta and Gamma, because there are waves of enemies coming towards you. You keep this girl alive, and your team will go a lot further than if you didn't have her at all. And you might be saying, well, I don't have Isabella, and unfortunately there's not really much you can do for this event. However, if you go into your shop, you'll see you can always buy 3 Isabella shards for 320 tokens each day, and I am actually wanting to get her all the way up to legendary just so I can get that passive ability, so I'm going to buy her again. And this is the character we are all trying to unlock, Jain. Now, as you can see, I've already got her up to Silver 2, and I've got all the rare items maxed out on her. Now the reason I've given her rare and not the epic gear is because I only really use her in PvP, where she's actually very good. Just make sure you keep her safe from anyone shooting her. And later this week you will see me take Jain and Ulf into the live PvP tournament, and I'll also be talking about their uses in the raids as well. So how prepared are you for the PvP tournament later this week and the Jain event next week? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you or your guild are looking for a new home, then by all means reach out. We are always happy to welcome new members into our fold as we are growing, and as you can see we are doing very well. Otherwise, we'll be seeing you on the battlefield.